Hello, we are here for one more lesson of this AutoCAD 2016 training course, and the topic for today will be how to create a dimension style. So dimension styles are very similar to text styles, and they determine the look of your dimensions and as well the size of the dimensioning features such as text and arrows. How can we create a new style? We have two ways basically. We can come to this annotate menu, and then in this group of commands, dimensions, you can click in the arrow and you get this dialog box that is called Dimension Style Manager. As option, you can do just D, enter, and you get the same dialog box. So when you reach here, you can make several things. You have two styles by default in AutoCAD, so the ISO 25 and the standard. And you can create new styles, you can modify one of the existing ones if you have more. You can override parameters or settings in one style, and you can, for example, compare one style with the other and you get all the differences. Okay. And this is similar to other things inside AutoCAD, you can and you should have one dimension style that is active. So you say one of the styles you have in your list, set current. So let us do one new style. So I will give it a name, CADsoft. I can start with one of the styles that I have already done. So I will start with the settings that this style has. So for example, ISO 25. I can do it this style as annotative. Okay, you've seen already what is annotative, and you can use all the settings for all types of dimensions or for one particular type of dimension. Okay, let us say all dimensions and continue. And now you get this big dialog box where you'll make definition of everything. So as long as we change the definitions, we will get an update, kind of a preview in this graphic window. So the first thing you should notice is about primary units. Okay, you can choose a format for the units. You can choose a precision. The precision are the decimal places you have. This is not active. We can choose the separator of the integer side for the decimal side. The round off, okay, we can make this kind of application. We can include a prefix or a suffix on the dimensions. For example, put an R in this and you get all of them have this. You can apply a scale, which is important in several cases, especially probably in layouts. You can suppress the zeros on the left or on the right, and you can have more subunits factor and suffixes. In particular, for the angular dimensions, we can make the same definition. Besides, we can choose to have active alternate units or not, and if you choose to have them on, then you will display, besides the primary ones, you can display these alternate units, and you can use this, for example, in terms of millimeters and inches, which is the most common use. So you'll get the same configurations. Okay, the only thing different is about the placement of these units after or below the primary units. Then we jump for the general look of the dimensions. So lines, color, line type, line weight, it's easy, so you understand this. These terms extend beyond fixed is something that we've seen in the previous lesson. Baseline spacing the same, and we can suppress, for example, one dimension line from one side or the other. The same configuration for the extension lines, and suppress it or not. Extend beyond dimension lines, we've seen that. Offset from origin, and a fixed length for the extension lines, which is interesting also. Then symbols and arrows, we can change the look of the arrows, being the first, the second, or if you have one leader. The size of the arrow, we can have a center mark with lines, with marks or anything, and in case of have this or the mark, you can choose a size. On the dimension break, which is something that we still did not see, we can set the size of this break. And for the arc length symbol, we can have some different possibilities. In this particular case, this is also a particular type of dimension, so a jog dimension, and we can set the angle for the symbol of jog, and this height factor for the same dimension. Then the text, and the text is not letters. The text, as we've seen in the previous lesson, it's the numbers or the combination of numbers and letters that you have on the dimension. So again, use the text style, and we've seen already what is the text style. The color, if we have the fill color or not, the height in case of fractions, and we can draw a frame around the dimension. Then the placement of the text, and we have a couple of possibilities here. When it's vertical, we can place it like this. When it's horizontal, again, centered, but we can do it something like that or something like that. Okay, there are a lot of possibilities. And the direction that it may be seen, left to right or right to left. Okay, and the offset from dimension line, which is the gap that the numbers, the text is above the dimension line. And the alignment, horizontal, aligned with the dimension, or ISO standard. So you have a couple of possibilities here also. Then the fit, and in this particular case, especially when we have very tight situations, so if there is not enough room to place both text and arrows, we can have these possibilities, and for example, to suppress the arrows. The placement, when it's not in its default position, so we have these possibilities also. And the scale for the dimension, we can use a scale also. It's interesting, this possibility here as a fine-tuning, because we can have a manually placement of the text, so if you like it. Last, we have the tolerances, and we can make also a couple of definitions for the tolerances, like the method to apply the tolerance. I have this turn it off, because tolerance is a theme that has many variables, and it's a theme by itself, so it's complex to explain everything on a short lesson like this one. So again, the precision, the upper and lower values, the scaling for the height, in terms of vertical position, where it is placed, the alignments, and also the suppression of zeros for the leading and trailing situations. And we can have also these alternate units tolerances, because we can have both of the units displayed on the screen. So after all these settings are done, just do the OK. You'll get a new style here, and you can say this is set current, so, and it will be added to your list. Okay, and then you can use all these settings to manage the dimension styles.